asked me, were you born in this country? And I was immediately offended. And I said, yeah, I was born in this country. And then she says, do you have any kids? I said, no, I don't have any kids. She then asked me if I was married. And then I said, no, ma'am, I am not married. She says, how old are you? I said, 19. May I help you find something? She then says, you are the most beautiful girl I have seen. And I said, oh, thank you. And then she says, I think you could be the next Miss USA. I'm in the Army, okay? We don't do pageants in the Army. She then asked me to meet her at Starbucks the very next day before my next shift at Target. And apparently I was a pretty open-minded 19-year-old because I actually agreed to meet her the very next day. The next day she brought this foot-tall stack of pageant books and proceeds to convince me to enter into a state pageant. So 3 months later, I compete in my first pageant and I lose. I go back the second year, compete in the state pageant. I lose. Go back the third year, compete in the state pageant and lose. Go back the fourth year, compete in the same pageant and lose. I go back the fifth year, y'all. Compete in the state pageant and lose. But guess what? I go back the sixth year. Guess what happens? I lose. I called her on the phone and said, you told me I could be the next Miss USA. And she says, Deshauna, keep working, don't quit, keep going back. And in June of 2015, she passes away from leukemia. 6 months later, in December 2015, I win Miss District of Columbia, USA. And 6 months after that, in June of 2016, I become the first soldier to win Miss USA. At times, our purpose drops in our laps as if the heavens threw it by accident. I ask only one thing of you all today after you leave this building. Do not fear failure, but please be terrified of regret. Giving up is the birth of regret. After you walk out this door, you will receive 100 doors shut, slam in your face. You will have 100 moments that will be filled with someone telling you no, or telling you, thank you for your application, but we regret to inform you that we've chosen a different candidate for this job. You will sit in 100 different interviews and you will not get the job. The reality of life is that we will all hear more no's than we hear yeses. And we will fail a lot, and I mean a whole lot. But what I ask of you today is to not take no for an answer. Don't be afraid of no's. Be afraid of the possibility of a yes that you have prematurely destroyed because you decided to quit before the clock strikes 12. I love a good no. Please tell me no. Telling me no is like adding fuel to a fire that is now set ablaze because of your single no. So today I challenge you to fight, to work, to not stop here, to believe so heavily in your aspirations that you too will not fear the word no, but instead you will choose to welcome it.
Be patient. Everything in life will go exactly how it's supposed to go. At times you will feel like an outcast, that you don't fit in, but you will discover that being your own clique will be your strongest attribute. In life, you're going to face many challenges, many moments of adversity. There are going to be a lot of successes and some failures too. Those moments are going to create your character, build your integrity, and they will become your beauty marks. On your journey in life, you may hear a lot more no's than yeses, but you'll let those moments motivate you, and those that said no will eventually wish they would have said yes. And to every girl listening out there, you will forever be empowered by knowing that no one, absolutely no one, can close the door that God has opened for you. All is possible because of God's grace.
You need to change your mind because some of you are thinking about giving up because you're in a season of failure. But just because you failed doesn't mean that God doesn't have a bright future in store for you. It is always too soon to quit. But I want to remind you that failure is not final, it's formative. It is part of the process. It's part of the journey. Your failure matters as much as your success. How do you think you're gonna grow if you don't ever fail? Yet some of you have failed and you have decided, well, guess what? I'm a failure. No, failure is an event. It is never a person. Just because you failed doesn't mean that you're a failure. In fact, failure is actually fuel for your future. The way that you grow, the way that you advance, you have to fail in order to succeed. Like every one of my successes is stacked on top of failures. You need to get a revelation today that the joy is not in the success, the joy is in trying. The joy is in the process.
It's okay. I'm going to stop when I need to stop. I'm going to feel when I need to feel. And I don't care what comes with that or what people want to say. It's normal. I'm supposed to keep going, and that's all I want to do. I'm just at peace now. You know, I think there's a struggle with figuring out, is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know what the future holds. And that's exactly what I say in the song. I think we're always going to have that choice, no matter how old you are. It's like you're going to do something and you're going to say, this might be right, this might be wrong, but I'm just going to go for it and see what happens and hope for the
Did you hear what happened to Jessica the other day? Alex totally yelled at her about the project. I heard the whole thing. It was really embarrassing. I mean, why did she even work here? She's not a good worker at all. Seriously. She's just not good. Well, that was an interesting meeting. You know her? I heard it's fake. He apparently got dumped because he isn't marriage material. I believe it. There's no way she actually deserved that raise.
I agree. Oh my gosh, Marissa, did you hear that someone this morning got sick in the middle of presentation and left? How embarrassing is that?
That was me.
Oh, were you able to fix that report earlier?
Yeah, I did it this morning.
Oh, okay.
Gossiping has a negative chain reaction. Complaining is contagious. Studies show that negativity can increase aggression toward random, uninvolved people, and that the more negative your attitude, the more likely you are to have a negative attitude in the future. Studies also show that long-term stress, like that generated by complaining, actually shrinks your hippocampus. That's the region of your brain that affects reasoning and memory. The saying goes, when people gossip with you, they'll gossip about you. And the thing about gossip is, it all sounds interesting and juicy until it's about you. The reason why we entertain and enjoy gossip is because it makes us feel superior for a moment. For a moment, you think you're smarter, sharper, faster, better than the person you're gossiping about, not realizing that the tables can turn very, very quickly, and not realizing that that foundation of your superiority is built on shifting sands. It's the weakest foundation to build your superiority on someone else's inferiority. If you don't want to hear gossip about yourself, stop gossiping about others.
So I moved to California, $700 in my pocket and my toddler. And I have to fight the good fight because people are telling me I can't. You can't do this. You can't. Are you crazy? You're moving to California with your son. You'll never make it. I was 26 when I decided to come here. There's the age thing. Oh, you're too old. If you listen to people and if you allow people to project their fears onto you, you won't live. What if I believed those people who told me that when I became pregnant in college that I wouldn't finish? I walked across that stage with my son on my hip and I collected my degree, my diploma. I didn't hear the naysayers when they were like, you're too old to go to California. If you don't hit by 25, you're not gonna make it. I will be 46 this year. I am just touching the surface. I am just getting started. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, you know. I had a passion, I had a dream, and I dived.
You work hard, you make money, you do it for yourself. That's not life. You go out, you seek for people who need your help, you make their lives better. You become that sponge which can absorb all the negativity, and you become that person who can emit beautiful, positive vibes. And when you realize that you have changed someone's life, and because of you, this person didn't give up, that is the day when you live.
It takes courage to be exceptional. It takes courage to be wise. It takes courage to be rich. It takes courage to be educated. It takes courage to be knowledgeable. Because the moment you do, but you don't talk like, oh, you forgot where you came from. Look at you talking. It takes courage. And I'm just wondering, in this weak, watered down, mediocre society that we live in today, in this reality TV world we live in today, I'm wondering if there's anybody left that's got the courage to say, after all I've been through, and all my ancestors have been through, and all my parents have been through, I didn't come through all of that just to fit in with normalcy. I have the courage to go after my dream and stand for the Lord. Is there a woman left in this entire Coliseum that's got some courage?
If you are at home and you're sitting on your couch and you are watching this right now, all I have to say is that this is hard work. I've worked hard for a long time, and it's not about, it's not about winning, but what it's about is not giving up. If you have a dream, fight for it. There's a discipline for passion, and it's not about how many times you get rejected but you fall down or you're beaten up. It's about how many times you stand up and are brave and you keep on going. Thank you.
There is no such thing as perfect, but I'm going to get up every morning and just shake off whatever it is I'm feeling and just go for it and continue my life. Sometimes I'm like, you know what, it's a part of it, I'm fine. And then some days I just wake up with serious anxiety. It's like, okay, it's overwhelming. Today I just don't want to be any of that, and I don't want to know anything going on. It just kind of depends. Everybody has up and down.
Life is short. It's too short to live depressed. It's too short to live anxious. And it's too short to struggle every day with thinking about taking your life. I want to challenge you tonight to get up. That you're not quitting tonight. That one day it is appointed unto all men to die. But that is God's responsibility, not mine. And so I don't know who I'm preaching to tonight, but I want to say to you, get up. Your future is brighter than your past. I want to say to you in the balcony, get up. Your ladder is greater than your former. I want to say to every person in this room, get up, because the best is still yet to come.
I don't think you get celebrated enough. You should be celebrated for every aspect of your growth and your growing pains. You should be celebrated for your creativity, for your fearlessness, for your persistence and determination. You should be celebrated for all the effort that you put into building your future, for being different, for not being given enough credit. It's because you are all the next generation. We need to invest in you. You're the ones who see the world through new eyes, with a new perspective. You're the ones who care about the future of our planet. You're the ones who will change the current state of the world. And unfortunately, you are the ones who are often ignored. Your voices aren't heard often enough, and you're the ones we need to be listening to. So I'm here to say that I'm listening, I'm watching, and you're up next.
If you just focus on the work and you don't let those people sidetrack you, someday when you get where you're going, you'll look around and you will know that it was you and the people who love you who put you there. And that will be the greatest feeling in the world.
Everyone has that one friend that is always complaining, always blaming what is happening in their lives on others. Their boss is against them. Their friends are against them. Their family is against them. Even the world sometimes is against them based on them. That's how they feel no matter what is happening. Every conversation somehow turns to be about them. When you're out at dinner, when you're on the phone, when you're messaging, when you're watching a movie, they find a way to make everything about what they're going through. You may feel the need to protect your energy and your mental health. Being around this energy constantly can be draining and tiring. It's not that you judge your friend or dislike them, but you realize that you need to take care.
It is okay to be scared. It is okay to cry. everything is okay, but giving up should not be an option. They always say that failure is not an option. Failure should be an option, because when you fail, you get up, and then you fail, and then you get up, and that keeps you going. That's how humans are strong. Failure is an option, should be an option, but giving up is not. Never.
The notion that we are not enough is a lie. And I think more young people need to know that like when you have that thought that you're not enough, that's based on a lie that somebody said to you, or a lie that somebody did to you. Like somebody said or did something to you to make you feel like you're not enough. And that's not true. That you are everything that you need to be, that you have everything that you need to have to be the person that you're meant to be and to be the best version of who you're meant to be. It may mean that you have to work really hard, and it may mean that you have to ask for help, but you are perfectly blessed. You know, you are exactly who you're supposed to be joyful in this life. So don't be afraid to work hard, and don't be afraid to ask for help so you can get there, because that's your truth.
Procrastination is a form of stress relief. Procrastination's not the issue, it's stress. You're procrastinating to give yourself a little break at work. So number one, because you're all stressed out and procrastinators are very hard on yourselves, this is gonna sound super stupid, but you gotta forgive yourself. Look, I know I really screwed up. I know I'm in a mess financially. I forgive myself. I'm just gonna do the best that I can. So that self-awareness of knowing, oh my God, here's that stress again about finances, screwing me over and preventing me from doing the small things that will actually fix my finances. Second thing that you're going to do, you're going to create what we call starting ritual. A starting ritual is something that pushes you to start. The best one on the planet, the 5-second rule. I want you to only work for 5 minutes. That's it, 5 minutes. Make phone calls for 5 minutes. 80% of you will keep going. The trick is starting. I'm just going to get started. I'm just going to be okay with where I'm at, and I'm just going to get started. Got it? Good. Welcome.
When you are struggling and you start thinking about giving up, I want you to remember the power of hope. The belief that something better is always possible if you're willing to work for it and fight for it. Our hope that if we work hard enough and believe in ourselves, then we can be whatever we dream, regardless of the limitations that others may place on us. The hope that when people see us for who we truly are, maybe, just maybe, they too will be inspired to rise to their best possible selves.
You cannot be jealous of someone or something that you don't truly desire. Jealousy is a clue. It's a directional signal. It's a dot on the map of your life, and the desire is blocked by fear, or comparison, or insecurity, or stress. And so when you start to recognize, oh, interesting, there's jealousy, instead of aiming that jealousy out at the world or at myself, aim it into inspiration, aim it into motivation.
I need you to hold on. I need you to hold on strong and don't give up. I need you to believe in every possibility that you have and understand that it is not over for you. I need you to understand life is always going to be good. But always keep in mind, sooner or later, we all got to punch that clock. So carry on. And don't give up. And don't give in. And do the best that you can to have the right attitude to make your existence matter.
When I started believing that I was not good enough, I started believing that I was a failure, that I'd never ever be somebody who people would like or people would accept. I started getting depressed. I thought, what kind of purpose do I have to live? I mean, are you just here to live to die? I mean, is there not a purpose for me? There are some things in life that are out of your control, that you can't change and you got to live with. The choice that we have, though, is either to give up or keep on going. I want to ask you, what are you going to believe? Are you going to believe in yourself? Are you going to believe everybody else's judgment on you? But I tell you, there are some times in life where you fall down and you feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. You see, I will try 100 times to get up, but if I fail, I try again and again and again. For as long as I try, there's always that chance of getting up.
A lot of us feel that when you've invested a lot of time into something, that you can't change it.
What's that term?
And it's a term in economics called sunk cost bias.
That's it, yeah.
And the idea that you have sunk so much cost, money, time. Yes, you've sunk so much time, energy, money into something, then now you feel you have to stick with that because otherwise you're going to waste more time, money, and energy. Now, what we don't realize is that actually the deeper you go, the less you like the product and the more you actually develop some sort of indifference to it. Whereas if you shift, you can actually create something you care about. And so failing, pivoting, trying again, these are all really great lessons that we've learned.
Of the process. I think that's the thing, right? That's a great point, because I think you naturally think that it should just keep going in the same trajectory. Like, oh, we've started in this way, it's going to be a smooth journey. And I think what I've learned from this and through
love is a verb. It's not a permanent state of enthusiasm. It's not about finding the right person. It's about being the right person. If you just want to be dazzled, you will have an adventure. You will be infatuated. You will fall in love. You will have a love story maybe, but you won't have a life story. And a life story is different from a love story. There are many love stories that are never becoming life stories. You know, people have had beautiful things, experiences with others of a few days or of a few years for that matter, but they don't really integrate to become a life. And a life has more than just a feeling of love. It's to build something. It's sometimes to raise children together. It's sometimes to bury parents together. It's sometimes to deal with illnesses together. It's sometimes to
you know, growing up, you'll say, okay, especially if you come from humble beginnings, you think to yourself, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to do something that'll make it better. And that'll not just make it better for me, but I think a lot of us want success, not just for ourselves, but to heal generational issues. People that want to be successful, sometimes they carry a bigger burden than we realize. And I think for someone like Will Smith to speak out about this and to make people be like, ding, ding, let me think about this. Let me work on me. While I'm working on being like this superstar, let me work on me and what can I do that can help other people? And I think the biggest part about it is talking about it.
We have these really big life changes, these big milestones, like we move to another town, or we buy a home for the first time, or we get married, or we have kids, or we take a new job. Those moments in time can serve as breaks from our past and all the habits that we used to have. In many ways, we can take on a new identity in this new role. And what research shows is that people are far more effective at introducing a new kind of consistency or sustained behavior change when their surroundings are physically different. They don't have some of the same cues and reminders every day that might inspire them to, you know, eat the chocolate cake versus the fruit salad, and their commute to work is different. So now maybe they're going to walk versus take their car. I do believe in the power of fresh starts, and you don't necessarily have to wait for a major milestone. Sundays can serve as fresh starts, like certainly January 1st can serve as a fresh start.
I have so many affirmations that I do, and I've done affirmations for a long, long time. I feel like they really do, that the more, I believe that how you think, and I teach my kids this, your thoughts create your life. And so you have to think positive thoughts all the time. You have to force yourself to think positive thoughts at times.
I was willing to completely die to any form of me that I had been so that I can birth the woman that I was becoming. The reason why a lot of people won't become who they want is because they're too attached to who they've been. And you hear it all the time when people say, I've always been this way. Okay, well, if that's working for you, keep doing that. I knew it wasn't working for me any longer. I had hit my version of rock bottom. So I was willing to let go of everything and everybody. See, another reason why people won't get there is because the doorway is for you to fit through. You're trying to carry everybody else through because you're trying to be Rescue 911. And you got to rescue you first. I am much more valuable to my family and to my community because I was willing to.
You are bold, you are brilliant, and you are beautiful. There is no other woman like you because you are your own kind of woman. These are the affirmations that I give myself every morning to remind myself of who I am, to remind myself of what I've overcome, to remind myself of my worth.
As artists and filmmakers, I believe that it's not only our job to entertain, but our duty to inspire and educate for love and respect.
Usually we're the damsel in distress, we're the sidekick, we need to be rescued by the guy, and it's not the way it is in real life. In real life, women, we bring life.
How old is your daughter?
5.
Does she know mommy is Wonder Woman?
She does.
Is she sufficiently impressed by that?
She's very proud.
People may not know this. You were Miss Israel in
Many years ago.
2004.
Yes. I'll tell you what, when I went to compete in the Miss Israel pageant, I went for the experience. I never wanted to win.
Me too, same reason, yeah.
I know. But then I won.
You were in the Army.
I was.
So, like this Wonder Woman thing, you're ready for it. You're ready for combat.
It's funny, I was ready. This is the role of my dreams. Ever since I became an actress, I always said that I wanted to show the stronger side of women.
When you engage your mind or constantly think about the things that you don't want, you are still with them. Let me say that one more time. When you think about things that you don't want constantly, you are still with them. So, for example, if you end up saying you don't want pain in your life, I don't want pain, I don't want pain, I don't want pain, you're still thinking about pain. But if you change that narrative slightly into, I invite healing into my body, I invite healing into my body, I want to heal, you are changing it into, your mind is changing the perspective on the situation, and you're inviting what you want rather than what you don't want. Why focus on what you don't want when you can think about what you want? I heard this quote, I guess, by Mother Teresa, where it said, don't invite me to an anti-war protest, invite me to a peace protest. Such a subtle difference in thought, such a subtle difference in wording and in language, but what a big difference it can make to the way that you look at life. So think about what you want, change anything that you're saying in your mind that you don't want into the things that you want.
It's a woman's problem. It's a black people problem. It's a poor people problem. If there's anything that I've learned, is that we can only fix this world together. We can't do it divided. I cannot emphasize that enough. We can't let the desensitivity seep in. We have been denied opportunities since the beginning of time, and still we prevail. So when we're marching and protesting and posting, tell your friends to pull up. Imagine what we could do together.
Growing up, your self-worth, I feel, is based on everybody around you. When you're a teenager, it's how many guys like you, or whether the guy you like likes you back. That ends up defining whether you love yourself or whether your friends love you. You're not stable, you have no rooting, and so everything that you base your love for yourself on ends up being external. I felt that way for a long time, that I felt something was missing. Like, I knew that my love for myself could not be based on other people. There had to be something else that I could have a foundation of. Okay, fine, there can be ups and downs, but I never go down to a low where I don't love myself. And I definitely think meditation was the turning point for me. And I felt that because it was the one time in the day where I would end up spending time with myself. Like, I wasn't spending any time actually thinking, who am I? Like, I don't know who I am. And I feel like in a relationship, whether it's with yourself or whether it's with somebody else, you have to know yourself, to love yourself. We never get into relationships with people or friendships with people without knowing them.
Here's the problem with excuses. Sometimes they're real. So my goal was, I want to make movies. That's where me and Tom, we first got married. Tom was going to go out, make enough money, and I was going to support him at home. It was just going to be for a year. So 1 year turns into 2 years, turns into 3, turns into 4. And so I start losing all my hopes and dreams in that period. And the excuse I kept making to myself is, well, we still don't have the money yet to make movies. Is that a reason or an excuse? If you drill down, it's an excuse, because I could make a 2-minute film that is shot on my iPhone that cost nothing. But in my head, I'd so stuck to the big dream of making a $100 million movie that every time I wasn't even taking one step, I kept using the excuse that I didn't have money. I kept using the excuse that we didn't have the time.